Hello, Nathan. We're gonna take a look at your five characteristics of light posting. So let's go ahead and share screen and kind of move me out of the light here. So I'm not looking into the light so much. Go ahead and share. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look here. Here we are, Nathan. All right. So the first thing that I like to do is to go ahead and just take a look at the overall collection here to see if you have labeled things and organized things in a way that we can kind of see what's going on. Looks like you have images up here, lots and lots of images. I am not seeing any labels. I'm not seeing any identifiers or categories and things like that. We'll certainly want you to go back and take care of that as a kind of a redo here. So that's the one thing. So one of the reasons why we have those parameters on there, why we ask you to go ahead and add labels to things and maybe tags to other things, and why we want you to format things in a particular way, it really all comes back to other people being able to view your work and know what it is that you are presenting to them. So for instance, which one is this? You know, do I know which one, which of the five characteristics you mean to be showing me? Because, for instance, it looks like we have lots of images here, but then I'm seeing black and white, black and white, black and white, black and white, and then down toward the bottom here is the color. So I'm presuming, you know, we worked on color you know, toward the end here. So I'm not exactly sure that we have these in any particular order or not, because here we have more color going on. And so there doesn't seem to be a particular sort of order to what's happening here. Also, there's a lot of photographs here. I'm not exactly sure how many we have here, but we wanted 36. And it looks like we have 132 photographs in this posting. I'm not sure why we have 132 photographs in the posting. Maybe you were misunderstanding that you were putting all of your photographs on the blog. That's not what we wanted to do. We want you to go ahead and choose the photographs that you want to present to us. I certainly don't want to sift through 132 of your photographs and decide which ones are best. The best ones for you. I want you to choose the best ones for you and then present them as your evidence of I know what I'm learning. So it's part of the process where you're going to go through those kinds of things. You have lots of interesting images here, and you have a lot of things I think to present to us. So I'm gonna want you to go back and do all of those things because part of the evaluation grade wise will be based on that kind of stuff. So you'll get your grades when after I post all of these these video reviews, and you'll see that, and it'll be kind of it'll be indicated within there, you know, that the I guess the accuracy portion needs work, and that's what I'm referring to. Accuracy meaning we need to have you edit down things and only post the number that we're asking you for. We need to have labels on your photographs and so on and so forth. That said, it's very difficult for me to really identify which ones you're talking about, which ones you're identifying as direction, which ones are hardness, which ones are which, because I don't know which ones you're saying. I mean, I could pick which ones I think, but I really don't want to be getting into that because then I'm telling you what you're doing rather than you telling me what you're doing. However, there are some images that I think are quite interesting compositional wise. Some are getting in the way of being too much on the observational side, where it just appears to be things like bottles or jars on tables. Others where we're incorporating stuff like the light itself in the shot. I'm not exactly sure that this is, you know, necessary? Where does this light participate fully in the composition? Things like that. You want to ask yourself those questions when you're making these images. Also, when you get down into images like this, wow, this is quite an interesting photograph, isn't it? What is this of? Why is it of? Suddenly we're looking at a photograph where it's light, it's shape, it's who cares? It is just simply an image that has sort of transcended subject and becomes about shape and light and nothing more. Then we get into a shot like this, which is right next to it. It's just bottles. So I have no idea what this is. This might have very well just been an accidental photograph that you made, but there's something remarkably different when we look at this and it's about light and shape and pattern, as opposed to this, which becomes almost exclusively bottles and jars and vases on a table, which we want to go beyond that, because to go beyond that opens up the possibility of you communicating something that isn't about just bottles and shapes and vessels on a table. It's, this is what's important. You're saying, this is what's important to me. And so to do that with photography, we have to, in a lot of ways, get around the concept of subject. Now, you have done something a little bit better coming up. Let's see, where were those images? They're a little bit farther down here, where you are now kind of bringing stuff right up to the screen. I think I probably at some point walked over and said, here, throw this thing up right up and let it run off the screen. You can see again what this is starting to do for you compositionally. Again, I'm not really going into the 5 characteristics yet because we haven't identified those in your posting. So I can't really say, well, this is a good example of this or that, because you are not telling me that you know what this is. However, just compositionally, this is really in a good direction. I say that because you're now engaging the picture plane in a much more dynamic way. You're activating the space. You're starting to create different shapes based off of that. Because you've defined this, now we have 2 zones that we're working with. You have the possibility now of starting to carve up the space so that it becomes more than just shapes on a table. Are you getting where we're getting at? We want to move beyond the limitations of photography in a lot of ways, limitations that are set up usually by the viewer, who see photography mostly as a means to sort of take things, right? Take a picture. That's usually what we say. We're going to take a picture, meaning we're going to take the subject, take it, right? That's not something we want to do. We want to share. And so we want to share our point of view. And so the last thing we want to do is take something when we make photography. We want to share our photography. We want to share our perspective and those kinds of things. So it looks like some of the technical parts of it, you're exploring them. You're following some of those instructions for the photography part of it. But I really need to see that evidence of it via your explanation, via some of the organization, and so on and so forth. So I'll leave it there and allow you to ask me some questions about what you need to do to sort of clean up the blog. What you're going to do is repost this information as a brand new posting. You're going to title it under a new heading. It's a different blog altogether. It's going to be called Nathan Smith's Ditch _resubmit, and it'll be a new collection. Same photographs maybe, but new collection of the images with the direction and intensity and temperature and all of that labeled so that we know exactly what it is. If you need good examples of it, just look through the other students' postings. There's lots of good examples there for you to be able to figure that stuff out. You know, I have the built-in resubmit policy in place there just for these kinds of things, because a lot of times it doesn't come across on a first pass. And so you have plenty of time to sort of reorganize and get this back into shape to where it needs to be. Let's focus on the next project, the aesthetics and control. So we'll move forward, and then we'll get back to the reorganization of the 5 characteristics. You pretty much will have all the way until November to get that done. So I wouldn't you know, say you have to hurry up and do it right away, but I wouldn't wait until November to do it, but I would go ahead and take care of it, when you have time, but don't interrupt the rest of your studies to do it, because I don't want you to fall behind or anything like that. All right. Well, again, ask me plenty of questions on what you can do to clean that posting up. I'll be happy to go through it, in person if you'd like to, and we'll see you in the studio. All right. Bye now.